Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our orientation for our auto service technician programs. Um, my name is Garrett Nalepka. I'm a coordinator for all the auto service technician apprenticeship programs and our 8226 diploma programs. So I'll be your host tonight. I'm joined by Professor Gill and Don Fisher. And again, I'll kind of um, uh, go through who these people are as we're going through the presentation. Um, just so you know, this is a webinar, so it may not be like every other Zoom meeting that you've ever seen, where there was two-way conversations. This we have a lot of participants tonight. We're still climbing, actually, hitting over 84 people. So I truly expect by the end of the evening, this number will be over 100. For my representatives for my board, this is being recorded, so feel free to share it with any of the students that can't make it tonight or are missing the meeting. For those who've never seen a webinar before, you'll see a box that says Q&A. There is an area where you can put questions in, and either myself or Professor Gill or Don Fisher will try to answer your questions. Keep in mind, we're going to be presenting this information, so you may want to wait till the end of the presentation to ask some questions, because we may be presenting the material regardless. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Welcome. Thank you for being one of the students to come in and be organized for your start on campus. For those who don't know, we're at the Ashtonby campus. So when we say Centennial College, if you were to just put Centennial College into your phone in Google or wherever and search it, you probably would come up with Progress Campus, which is the wrong area to be. So we are at Ashtonby. Ashtonby does the majority or all our transportation on-ground vehicle training for Centennial College. We're Canada's largest transportation training facility. We have over 5,500 students attend per year, and our faculty are among the most highly skilled in the industry. On average, and this is continual, we're making over $6 million in investments basically in the last 5 years. And that's continual. Every year we're putting more and more money into training aids and up-to-date equipment. Just to give you an idea or sense of who some of the people are around the campus and some of the people you may be getting messages from. Predrag is our dean. He's also the dean of other campuses. So a lot of times he is not, you wouldn't see him on campus for day-to-day operations. He's basically dealing with some of the higher level stuff around the campus, but you may be receiving emails from him. The person you do receive emails from is Don Fisher. And I put this jokingly as assistant to everything because I changed the title, but she really is all over the place for all our different programs, helping students, keeping things organized. She's here tonight answering your questions, and I'm sure you've been getting emails trying to keep you organized for class. So she's very involved and interested in your success on our campus and with the different programs. So if you plan to attend this semester and many more, you have a lot of communications from her trying to keep everything organized and efficient. Under that, we have what we call our associate deans. So Paulo Santos is the associate dean of your program. He is responsible for the day-to-day operations of basically, the easiest way to say this, our building and our programs, our faculty and our students. So he's responsible for all those. Then we have Carol, who's responsible for everything from scheduling to making sure everything's going all right, ministry reporting, and so much more to do with the day-to-day operations of our college. So again, she is doing everything from making the schedules for our faculty to students to room booking to ministry reporting and just making sure everything is working. Then there's me. So I'm a coordinator for your program and basically oversee the faculty teaching in the program. I also have a teaching role, so in addition to teaching, I'm helping as well. So as a coordinator, it's kind of like a team lead per se, and every department has their own coordinator. So if we go down the list, if we were looking at auto body is a different trade, and so we have a coordinator of our auto body programs, a coordinator for our parts programs, and coordinator for motorcycle and power sports, which is a different trade. So let's start talking about Centennial College and some of the stuff that you may need to know. My Centennial is a website that you can go to that is based on all the information from Centennial College. So you can just even put it in Google, right? My Centennial, and it'll take you to the screen. Obviously, you got to log in. The first thing that you must know is every student has a 9-digit Centennial College number. It should start with a 3. You enter that number, and then the first time you log in, it's going to be your date of birth. So you would write the month in a numerical format. The month in a numerical format, the day in a numerical format, and the year. And then as soon as you log in that way, it'll let you in once, and then you're going to have to set another password using their criteria, which could be uppercase, lowercase, 8 digits, and so on and so forth. If you have any issues logging in or any internet issues, you have to go to the IT desk we call it help desk or IT desk, in order so they can help you to log in. That we do have a secure network that would allow you to, do everything that you need to do. And there is a guest network where some of the functions are blocked. And so one of the things I would suggest very early on when you come on campus, try to get all your devices logged on to the secure network. So the first time you have a professor give you a test, that you can actually log on and you're able to do it. Otherwise, what'll end up happening, you'll start the class and you won't be able to do anything, and you'll be running to the IT desks to try to get everything figured out. Okay, so we'll talk about this. This information looks very similar to what we just discussed, and it's called Luminate. These systems don't look like each other. So what we're going to do is I'll take you through what this is, and then I'm going to switch screens and just show you some of this stuff so you can understand. Luminate is a learning management system. It's a display for your course content. It's a portal so you can go in, check your grades. We used to call it eCentennial. So this is just been through a name change. And again, the same kind of deal, your 9-digit Centennial College ID number, and the first time you log in is your birthday. So I'm probably going to upset everything because I'm going to stop my screen share for a second, and I am going to try to get my my internet to kind of show you my Centennial first, and then we'll jump on to Illuminate. And so I got that going, and now let's see if I can get my share screen, which everything has now changed. Okay. If it worked, you'll see my screen. There's a lot more things that are open in my particular screen as an employee compared to a student. So ignore all this stuff that says employee and faculty home. Um, but what you will have is some of the student information. So when we look at some of this stuff is moved around on us. So if you didn't catch that, I went to academics. Okay, so within academics, you'll see an area that says class schedule. And so on your screen, you'd be able to click on this and be able to see um, just a week of what your classes are scheduled like, as long as they're in already, which they may not be. So it gives you an idea about your timetable and some of the classes that you will be doing. Okay, so that is like an easy way to kind of see um, what classes you would actually be taking. So a lot of the stuff in here, there's a lot of areas that we're going to be talking about later in the program, and I'm hoping that this is still sharing. So some of the areas I want you to pay attention to: book a tutor. Okay, so you need help in individual class. We're going to talk about the library has the tutors. Okay, say you're just struggling in a particular class. We've got book a study room. So there are small rooms that you could have meetings with fellow students. Say you want to study for a test. Um, there's small meeting areas that you can actually go to. Okay, there's also, you can see some of the other things we're going to be talking about later: parking permits, locker rentals. So you can kind of see it's all under that academic portal. Okay, it's all in the same area. And when the very last places that I want you to pay attention to is, you can see this CALCS, Center for Accessible Learning. Okay, so these are all things that we're going to be talking about later on in our presentation. So it's all available through Centennial as an area to go to. So this is the My Centennial actual portal. And then where I'm going to take you now is our Illuminate. So Illuminate are your physical courses that you can that you're actually going through. So if we look, basically, right now I'm teaching an EV course. I'm going to go into that just to give you an idea. So my students, there's announcements, there's grade books, so they could see what grades they're getting. You can see announcements. So for example, if I click on this, it'd be what the teachers are telling the students. So for example, I have the date for the midterm in this particular class. I have that there was a room change, and basically they could go in, they could see, oh, the room has changed to another area. And as of tomorrow, they have a practical test near the fuels lab in room 130. And basically, there's a warning there that there's going to be no makeups allowed for this test. So all important information. The other thing is and they don't have to do this, but a lot of the instructors, they put their content. So there's course info, history of EV operation. So these are all slides and PowerPoints, safety theory, and so on and so forth. I also have a place where it just says lab worksheets. So this is where the students are handing in all their homework. So it says, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4. So these are all areas where the students did their homework and kind of dropped them in to be marked. So very important website to be using and going through. So this is it's really important that you're able to log on to this and be able to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our presentation. So I'm going to see if I can switch on the fly here. Let's see. And hopefully that works. Okay. So so Luminate, you guys got it. We're good. We're going to move on to the next subject here. And that's going to jump into your My Card. So My Card is a Centennial College identification card. There are different things you can do. You can put printing credits on it. But it's just ID for you to be on campus. The other thing is there are certain companies that offer discounts for students if you're a Centennial College student. So this is probably one of the greatest reasons to actually have that card is basically, well, number one, it proves who you are, but number two, you're also for all these areas and stores that would allow you to have a discount. It's something to have on you. Okay, you're supposed to carry this at all times. I'll add to this. There's a little bit of leeway, when you're starting a semester. So a lot of people freak out about this first day, like, oh my God, I don't have this. This isn't something that your professors are going to be asking for. It's something that you should get, but don't worry about, having this the first week. It'd be nice to have, but if things aren't organized, it's okay. How do you get this? So I have a very large group of students. I'm over 104 students. And in that, I have AST that I have AST that we have AST for anybody just entering in level 1, but we also have our special programs called OYAP. With OYAP, a lot of times they'll help you to actually set a time to take these pictures and help keep you organized. But let's put it this way. If you want to get ahead, you can log into this mycentennial.ca. But what I'll do is I'll put this up on the screen, and you can actually put your phone, your mobile device, whatever it is, basically put it on picture and just highlight over the screen, and it's going to take you to the right area in order to start the process or application for your My Card. It'll take you straight to it. Okay. And yes, there's requirements for the size of photos and everything else. But if you do this, you're way ahead. Okay. There's different things that are, available for that you need for parking and different things that this card is helpful. Okay. And by saying that, I've got Dawn send me messages about parking and whatnot. Now, I see a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just pay a daily rate for their parking to get in the first couple of days and then switch over to, the official way with the actual My Card, to get organized. But if you could do this and it works for you and you're not having trouble, you could be way ahead of some of your other fellow students. They'll basically have your picture uploaded, your card all done, everything all said and done, and you can pick up your card and be ahead of the other students. And if you're choosing this as a career, keep in mind OYAP or even our AST programs, you need that card for other subsequent levels. And basically, when you're going through, this is very helpful. Okay. Parking. I don't like to talk about. I'd like to actually even skip this. You saw it was on my Centennial. Um, I've done this presentation before where it didn't, I'll talk about parking and I don't really discuss the rates, but this time I'm going to discuss the rates. Guys, I don't know how to say this. It is expensive to park in Toronto. Okay, it's one of these things that our campus, where it is, uh, it costs a lot to actually park on campus. So I'm going to flip you over to, let's see, your screen is being shared. Share screen. Parking rates. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down here. Okay, so here's the thing. I got to kind of explain this. So hopefully you're seeing this. It says flex exit pass options. And the reason I have to explain this, I watched my students and they were really kind of surprised how this works. So say I buy this flex pass $57. Okay, number 5. What it means is you could go on campus and leave 5 times. So let's say, if you go on campus and you want to go out for lunch, so as soon as that gate opens and you leave, that counts as 1. You just used up 1. And when you come back and park on campus and then you go to leave it again, that's 2. You just used 2 of your Flex Pass 5 exits. So you have to be careful because this can get used up pretty quickly. So, for example, 10 exits are $105. Okay. We could scroll down here. So we've got bi-monthly permits, monthly permits. So there's a lot of different options here. And then price per semester. So you could see that parking is a lot of money. If you're, we have lots of different students here. If you're in an OYAP program, some boards will help you with transportation. It just depends on if they're able to. So if you still, that being said, you could still drive yourself, but you have to park on campus. You can see the costs of it. And we're surrounded by different stores like Walmart. We have a LA Fitness down the road. They will mark your tires. So, and eventually will get a ticket. So the issue is, I'm just warning you guys ahead of time, parking is an issue on campus. Okay, it is expensive, and that's the reason I'm showing you all of this. Okay, let's go back to our lesson here. Okay, lockers. Lockers aren't expensive. So a half locker as of today is $9 per semester to rent. A full locker is $12 per semester to rent. Okay, it just depends. Some students use the trunk of their car. You can just keep in mind the school's quite big, so it depends how far away your classes are. Some teachers want you to take your textbooks to class, some don't. We have a very thick textbook, which you're going to see later on in the actual lesson. So it's a lot to actually haul that around. So it just depends if you want a locker. Some people, especially winter time right now, the weather is getting nicer, but some students like to switch out their winter boots or whatnot and have a place to actually store stuff. For $12 a semester, and you saw where you can actually rent that on my Centennial, that a locker could be quite useful. Okay, library. One of the biggest reasons I put this up here is actually for booking tutors, but you can actually get study rooms, and you can still rent out like a laptop computer for up to 4 hours from the library. Okay, so most of the stuff that you're going to be doing is out of the same textbook and the same reading materials. So again, you won't be going to the library a lot for resources, but it's more or less to for if you wanted to learn something different, you want to book a tutor, you need a computer, you need a study room. Okay, so all these are different reasons for our libraries. Okay, so now this was the other area on my Centennial where it said calcs, and the long name is Center for Accessible Learning and Counseling Services. So here's the thing, you may not need these services, but it's everything from mental health to any kind of counseling to advocating for students. It's also if you're coming from high school, you've had a learning management plan from your high school. We don't accept any of the documentation from the schools directly. So if you had an education plan from high school and you want to bring any kind of accommodation forward, you need to book an assessment with this center, with calcs, and they have to reassess you. After you're assessed, if you are provided accommodations, they'll give you documentation that you are to give to all your professors. And so one of the biggest things, one of the biggest mistakes, we have students that go through the process, get the documentation, and they may share it with one professor and they think we all talk, and we don't, due to privacy laws, we do not share that stuff. We basically, if we get that documentation, we hold on to it, but we don't talk about it. Okay, so it's up to you to share that with each and every professor that you want to. Okay, so we have some students that maybe they're only having struggles with electrical. So they may only give the accommodations to their electrical teachers. I'm just giving a particular example, but they were having no troubles at all with some of their other courses, so they didn't share. And so that's all up to you whether you want to do that or not. Okay, so you need that documentation with you in order to provide that with your professors. Okay. So the next thing that I want you to look at is how the grades are actually calculated. Okay. So here's a big thing with how we calculate grades. Our grades, if we're looking at a typical school, you probably pass with a 50. Okay. With Centennial College, a 60% is a pass. So you need to earn a 60% average in order to pass your program level. So I'm going to give you a couple examples here. Let's say you have 5 courses. Okay. You can get, and you're getting 60 in some, so you got a 65, a 68, and so on and so forth, and you get a 55 in one, and the rest of the grades are high. As long as you have a 60% average, when we look at all those courses, you're good. Okay, so if you take all the courses and put them together and it's a 60% average, you're fine. And these all go by letter grades. So for example, when we're looking at this, you need to make sure that you're earning above a certain amount. So I'll give you another scenario. Say I get 3 courses in the 50s. there's no possible way to actually get a 60% average at the end. So even though you didn't fail an individual course, you still failed the program level. And so with this, there are no free passes at a college level. If you have a low GPA, you're not going to earn any credits towards your apprenticeship, and you're not going to be able to carry on to the next program level. So just keep this in mind. You need to actually try to aim for a 60% average. Our bookstore is located on campus. We basically, with our bookstore, they have all the textbooks that you need for your courses. And the one textbook that you do need for your courses is our Halderman edition. I'm going to show you a picture of it in a second. But right now, because we have such a large group with OYAPs and some of my AST programs, I have to kind of warn you a little bit. If you are in an OYAP program, Ontario Youth Apprenticeship Program, we have a set of textbooks that we're going to be providing for you. Okay. It's the 6th edition of the same book that we're going to be studying. And so it's on loan. You do have to give it back at the end of the semester. And basically, when you come into level 2, you're still going to have to buy the 7th edition book that we're going to talk about in a second. But just for Ontario Youth Apprenticeship, the college made a large investment on purchasing the books because it was a boundary for some of the students who were coming early in. So if you're an OYAP, you will be provided a book for your first round. And then when you're coming back for level 2, you will have to purchase a book. But let's talk about, for everybody else in here who's in here for level 1, we use the 7th edition Halderman book. There's your ISBN. There's plenty of them at the bookstore. Make sure it's 7th edition. I am finding that a lot of the same information is in the same books. It's just the chapters are different and the page numbers are different. So you have to have the same book that's being used by your professors. Otherwise, it's very hard to keep organized. Okay, so there's lots of these in the bookstore for you to purchase. We also you'd use it for this level, all your courses. Level 2, all your courses. Level 3, all your courses. So it's one book. It's not in your best interest to, they have an option for a digital copy that will expire after a certain amount of time. It's not in your best interest to do that. Okay, because you still would, if you want to do this as a career and you want to follow through all the different levels, you may go for level 1 now, go back to your workplace for a year, then come back for level 2. And if that book expires, now you're buying it again. So it's in your best interest to purchase the book and keep it. Okay. The other thing is, say an 8th edition comes out, we phase it in. Okay. So for example, I still have some level 3 classes still on the old book because this new one is being phased in. So one of the last learning resources that we're going to talk about is called Electude. It's an electronic textbook. It is mandatory purchase for some classes. Okay. Now OYAP is special. So this is one of the things that it just depends on your coursework and if the professors are asking for it. And this, I guess, same thing for you AST guys. I would hold off on purchasing it and I would actually ask my professors to see, okay, we've got 2 classes that are using it, or I have no classes that are using it. And then basically, then you can make a decision. As far as the outlines say, it's a mandatory thing if your professors ask for it. One of the nice things about Electude is it shows 3D images of whatever you're trying to learn. So you can see an internal workings of an engine. Um, and you could kind of get a sense or idea of how it works. Okay, so very last thing. So this is our, the front of our campus. So you have rights and responsibilities, respect. So attendance, almost always the number one reason why students are not successful uh, is poor attendance. Um, your course, I don't know what to say. It's 8 weeks long. You could miss a lot of information very quickly um, and not be able to recover. We used to, like, let's put it this way, the ministry used to actually have us take 1% off for every hour of class missed. But what we found was if you were missing class, you were probably going to fail anyway. And so we didn't have to try to take marks away at all. This is one of those things. This is not your normal semester at your high school. So number one, 60% is a pass, not 50, okay? 50 and above, 50 to 59 is a conditional pass. You need a 60% average. So if you get more than 350s, you're not passing that level. You're going to have to redo the level. We don't bump marks. This is the other thing. I've had students not do well for attendance and whatnot, and they'll come sit in my office and they'll say, "What are we going to do now?" And I say, "Okay, you're going to do it again because you didn't put the right amount of effort in and you didn't actually learn." So if you're getting a sense that we're a little more strict, keep in mind that each time you pass a level, we're certifying you to work on the general public's automobiles. So you're allowed to do the brakes, you're allowed to work on their cars. And we are trying to say that you were in class and learning all of these things. So you're certified to work on the general public's cars. We've hit a point where nobody gets pushed through. If you're not successful in a course, the marks are left as is, and you're not going to pass. Obviously, a lot of this other things like academic honesty, like if you're plagiarizing, code of conduct, you can't bully anybody, and participation. Okay, get out as much as you're putting into a learning experience. In our college, especially our labs where you're maybe physically working on cars, we've had people who are more productive in those classes, and we've had people who will hide in a corner and not will do as little work as possible for their actual course. So you have to try to learn as much as you physically can in these classes. Mask policy, wear one if you're sick. That's what we find. It's totally okay. There may be somebody has a slight cold, they want to put it on. You don't have to. We don't enforce these things. Smoking, we're a smoke-free campus. That includes in your car in a parking lot. Same thing, you can't smoke. You have to go out to the road, and you'll see some of our faculty even do that. Recreational campus cannabis is considered the same as alcohol. You're in an area where you're in labs and you're probably lifting cars above your head. So with that, you can't be under the influence of anything. If you are, you may not be allowed to go to your classes if you're under the influence of anything. And I guess the very last thing, and regardless of who's overseeing you, OYAP or otherwise, we may be asking you to fill out our skilled trades apprenticeship forms. And these are really important because after you're done the course, we have to report to the ministry that you passed and you completed a level. And so at the end of all this, it's reported to as a pass or a fail. And we need your permission to be able to submit that information. So somebody's going to be bringing you forms. It's very important that you sign those because at the end, we're going to be submitting that information to Skilled Trades Ontario. So when you're signed up as an apprentice, it's going to switch from, a level 1 offer to a level 2 offer. Okay, so this next part, I'm sorry, OYAP students, this is one of the slides that does not pertain to you. Okay, so this is for our apprentices. And so these are students that worked for a year. You may be, and it depends how long you're working, where. This is between you and the government. There are different benefits that you may be eligible for. And Dawn, who does everything at our campus, will give you dates after you're a student to come in and you can fill out some forms. There may be things like travel that they'll actually pay for. And I have to warn you ahead of time. Let's say I live 25 kilometers away from the campus. So the first 24 kilometers are free. After that 24, then they start paying. So if I was 25 kilometers away, I would only be eligible for paying for a single kilometer. Okay, so there's a lot of things like that you need to know. But again, EI, unemployment and whatnot, you need to be working for a period of time to be eligible. The college will host this, but it's really between you and the Ministry of Labor. For these sessions, you'd have to bring ID, like your social insurance number, and a bank deposit form. So all of this stuff will be in the email. These sessions are put on usually early in the semester. And again, this isn't for OYAP. This is for our apprenticeship classes. And I can't say who will be eligible and for what, because it's different for everybody. Again, it's agreement between you and the ministry. We have security on campus. So anytime you have emergency, you can dial our security, but I want you to keep in mind, like if somebody is having a medical episode, we encourage you to call 911. But if there's somebody else around you, get them to contact security as a next call, because they have to open gates and whatnot, depending on what the actual issue is. Okay, so if somebody's having a medical episode, and we've had everything from small cuts to people fainting and whatnot, and if you get somebody to call 911 and somebody else to call security, that usually works the most efficiently, because without that, the ambulance will get to the gate, but the gate's not going to open. Okay, so these are all things that you can do in emergency. Students are required to obey the general laws of the land and treat the college and all members of the college community with respect and honesty, including cooperating with college officials. Okay, so these are all things that are trying to keep us safe, make sure that we're doing okay and there's nobody being bullied, harassed, or there's any kind of violence or vandalism. So I think we can all agree that's a good thing. And one of our very last slides, and this is happening March 25th, which I realize is a very short period of time for you. But every year we have our skills competition. And so basically, if you enter, there is no cost. There's a very large 200 question automotive skill-based test that if you're in the top 20, you would then move on to a practical competition where there may be tasks that you might be doing with engines, electrical, or whatever. And so with that, I would say that you can try this out, keeping in mind that you are in level 1 right now, so your skills will get better. Every March we have this. You're eligible to join anytime you're a student. So you guys would be eligible to join. The one thing I would tell you, you have nothing to lose by trying to join up and trying to challenge the test, and you never know what might happen. It's based on all skill areas of a car, so it's up to you to decide if you want to challenge that or not. Okay, and that's everything. So I'm going to stop.
Jared, sorry,
Oh,
could I chime in with a couple of notes from Hagen? Because I
sure.
wasn't able to message him or I guess unmute him. Number one, there's a cohort of students that are from the group that's going to be from April 27th to June 19th. Hagen can't register those students in the program until he gets the detailed schedule for that time. So he says, please stay tuned. He will send you out the information by email. And he said for the March 2nd and to April 24th cohort, you should receive the detailed information with the email by now. If not, please contact Higgin directly. And because he's got his question in the chat, which hopefully is visible to everybody, including his email address, which is hli@centennialcollege.ca. And one more note for the cohort that's starting on March 2nd. Hagen has made arrangements for people to be at the hub to get the My Card photos taken. That is something that the traditional apprentices can also do. The April 22nd people, you will likely get your My Cards done at a later date. But I just wanted to let people know that if you come to campus early, then you can have someone help you in person at the hub. And that way, if you come early, you can get that done. But also, it's important that you're able to find your way, to park and get on campus, and then find the hub itself as well. And he mentioned about everybody has been notified about that group, as well as there's another truck coach OYAP, as well as the grade 11s. So hopefully that helps.
Okay, so now's the time you can ask any questions you want in the Q&A box. If we've answered all your questions and you feel confident, you're ready to go, then feel free. Thank you very much for coming. I will be sharing a copy of this presentation with our boards who can share it with all their students for anybody who may have missed it. But we're now here to answer any questions that you may need. So you can go into the chat box and you can ask. Okay. So I'm going to start. When
Sorry.
do
Okay.
accelerated OYAPs in group one receive their schedule? So Dawn, I guess probably a week before they'll get their schedule. So what I would say is keep checking your My
If it's
Centennial.
something you want me to send out by email, then I can look at that. I'm not sure if Hagen does that for the OYAPs. I have already done that for the level one traditional um, people that registered, registered prior to yesterday. But I don't know, Hagen maybe can send a message to let me know if he's sending the timetables, because it is something I can do. I just need to know, and then I'll do it tomorrow.
What I would do, Dawn, is we could share share them with Hagen, who can share them with the board members and just get them out to everyone. That's
It's just
probably
there's
the best
section
way.
A and section A and section B, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure how that. Well, I'll make them available to Hagen.
Okay. When do we apply for EI benefits if we're already received the code? Okay, so generally Dawn sets up the dates for the EI benefit meetings. And really, it's dependent on when the ministry is available to come to class. So when we do that, keep an eye on your emails. Is generally pretty early in the semester, but I don't want to um, put down an exact date because it seems to be dependent on the ministry.
It is, sorry, Garrett, it is dependent completely on the ministry. It's going to be the Thursday of week 2. So what I did was, so to avoid confusion, I have emailed the apprentices to their my Centennial email address this information because that is something that is for the future. So I didn't want to bog them down with getting started and putting that in there because it's something that's not happening week 1.
Okay. I'm going to read out the next question that I'm taking care of. It says, as an OYAP student, I'm starting on April 27th. Is it guaranteed to follow the next levels through Ashtonby, or is it possible that we need to fulfill the next level in another college? So here's the thing, and this goes to everybody. On your Skilled Trades Ontario portal, okay, you can set a preference. And I'd love it if you set the preference for Centennial College, but you're able to actually set that yourself. So there is a skilled trades portal. You can go in there, you could set the preference, and then basically set it for Centennial College or whatever college you want, but we're hoping you pick Centennial. Okay. Is there a bus that will be sent out to OYAP students? Depends on the board. Some boards have buses, some boards are able to do taxis for some people. It totally depends on your board. You need to talk to your school board. What time are the students starting? So here's the thing. For our classes, they can be as early as 7:30 in the morning. And they can be as late as 6:30. Generally, for our OYAP students, it'll be a little bit later in the day for the start because we know that the younger students may not have a vehicle to drive. In fact, we know basically with that being said, I don't have the schedules right now, but I would assume that there's nothing before 8 o'clock. It says, thank you. Okay, so great. Set your preference. So that's everybody. Set your preference for Ashtonby or Centennial College. Please do that. We appreciate it. Trying to keep our numbers up. Well, more
But you
information.
did you mention to them that they need like traditional apprentices and have to be employed full time and sponsored outside of the like after their OYAP program is done and all that when they
These are
graduate?
all things for as long as that preference is set, then yes, they will have to return to work. But the biggest thing is to have that preference set for Ashtonby or Centennial College. But yes, you do have to go back to an employer and work for a period of time and wait for your ministry offer. Will more information be sent to our personal email address or just the school? So here's the thing. What I can say is keep checking your school one, because if I'm changing a classroom or something like that, it automatically sends the information to your school email address. So what I would do, still have your personal email, that's fine, but I would take the time to set up my school email to my personal device. Okay, if you're a student, you're full-time here, set it up. So, it could be, oh, snow day, sorry, we canceled class. And not, the weather's getting nicer and everything, but you want that information right away. When I look at my class schedule and timetable, my view your timetable, my schedules are different. Okay, well, I'm an employee, so mine looks a little different the way mine is set up. But look at something, especially it says week at a glance. A lot of times that information will be populated before anything else. What about the transportation? So depends on what you're doing. OYAP student may or may not help you. Um, it's up to you. Okay. I have a My Centennial account because I did dual credit. You're going to use the same account. Okay, so that student number will stay the same. The account will stay the same. I'm having a problem logging in. I've had ID. I tried to put my password, but it still says failed. So we have an IT desk that you'd have to go to them and get them to help you. It's also called a help desk. It's in our hub where all our student services are taken care of. So basically, walk in the school and ask for the hub and tell them you're looking for IT.
Sorry, may I chime in for a second? We're getting
Yep.
quite a few questions about people asking for their student ID numbers.
Mm-hmm.
For the apprentices, the traditional apprentices, the call center should have sent you your Centennial ID number with your receipt for payment. If you have not got that, you can email me, Dawn Fisher, which is dfisher@centennialcollege.ca. For OYAP students, Higgin has communicated with all of the apprentices, sorry, all of the OYAP students for the March 2nd start date. He might not have those yet for the April 27th start date. So for people that are starting April 27th, please don't worry about not being able to get onto Centennial's platforms, because some of the platforms aren't open to you until day one of your program date or just prior, but you do have time to get that information. So if you are an April 27th student, you can email Higgin at a later date, but he is processing people right now for the one that's starting next Monday. So don't be worried if you don't have some of the information yet. And I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of who to contact for what. Someone was asking about how many hours for level 1. I'm not sure if that's OYAP or traditional, but we don't do hours anymore. It's by competencies. The ministry has an online logbook that people have to download, and they have to fulfill all the competencies for all, the levels 1, 2, and 3. And then at that point in time, once they've done that, they're eligible to take the exam. So hopefully that helps. I'm just trying to answer a bunch of questions at once. And where do we get my card? If you're doing it online yourself, uploading the selfie, you go to the hub to pick it up. If you want someone to help you live with your photo, I believe that they're going to take your photo and make your card right then and there. Higgins actually now able to chime in, so maybe you can, Higgin, you can give us details. I think they do it right then and there, but I'm not sure. Sorry, Higgin, are you there? Or no, I guess.
I don't see him on our panelist list, Dawn. Do you what? And I don't see
Sorry,
his name.
I thought it was Higgin. It's Harnick.
Yeah, yeah, I don't see Hagen in our panelist list. Yeah. Okay. So, um, I'm with Peel District School Board. There's a form saying transportation could be provided if needed when I applied. Peel is one of the few boards that has a bus, but you have to be in a specific area. So, and I think that's shared with your Catholic boards of the same area. So talk to your boards about that. They most certainly have something, or they've had, if nothing has changed from previous years. Of course, that depends on funding, but talk to your boards. Where can I find my schedule? So we don't have the schedules yet, but you can find it on My Centennial. Usually it's downloaded first. but that will be provided to you through your boards if you're an OYAP student, and basically it will be emailed to you if you're just an AST student. OYAP is traditional. The difference is you didn't work for a year before you came here. And your high school is a little bit involved in your education, but you end up with the same credentials at the end of the program. So you would end up earning your level one apprenticeship, regardless if you're in OYAP or in traditional. It's just we've had a very small number of students were interviewed. They were able to pass the interview. They had an employer where they did a certain amount of co-op hours, and that actually counted for a year of experience, and they're accelerated into level one. That is where the differences end. Other than that, you are a college student and you're in level one as an apprentice.
Garrett, for OYAP students, do they supply PPE?
Depends on the board. So this really depends on budgets, but talk to your board. There's everybody's different. And I don't like to say too much because some boards supply a lot and some don't supply anything. Okay, thank you everybody for coming. If you have no other questions, you're free to go. Thank you for being organized and making sure that everything goes smoothly for us. I will get the recording out to anybody who wants it, and definitely to all the boards. If you have any questions, last chance to pop into our Q&A. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming. You're very welcome. I'll see everybody on campus.
Just to mention, just to repeat what Garrett said, we will be sending this recording to Higgin, and for traditional apprentices, I can send it to them. So don't worry. Once the recording is prepared, it gets forwarded by email. It sometimes takes 24 hours or something, but we will make sure that it's provided to the school board's personnel and directly to the apprentices.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Dawn, I'm going to end this.
Okay, great. So that's great. Once I get it, I will forward. I can forward it to Higgin and my OEPs, my traditional apprenticeship students as well.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right. Thank
Harnick.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Dawn.
Thank you, Harnick. Take care.